Hi, welcome to the fourth part of the goods market model lecture of the Introduction to Economics course. This lecture series is basically created for the Middle East Technical University Northern Cyprus campus. And last time I have mentioned that I have started to model the consumption spending, and I have mentioned that when we take consumption spending, the key variable was the income. The more income people have, the more they will spend money. But I have also told that the important income was actually disposable income, which is actually you should subtract from your gross income, the money you get from your income sources, and the taxes you pay. So if we look for individuals, of course, this T is at individual level, but if we look to the whole society, then we can also think about the gross income, I mean the GDP, minus T is the income of everyone, as we have seen in the GDP part, since we also have a closed economy, by the way. And actually, even in open economy, income is equal to the basically GDP minus taxes. Tax is the income of the government in one sense, but here we don't take it into account. We see government as an exogenous actor that is actually regulating the economy. But we have in the starting point we have told you that actually we are assuming there is no government. And if there is no government at this model, at this level, there is also no tax. So basically, throughout the rest of this chapter, I will assume y is equal to yd. Why I have mentioned it in that case, you might ask. I have mentioned because in the coming lectures, I will add the government. And from this point on, I want you to note that actually y is not necessarily equal to yd. So let's go further. So this is our consumption function. This is for individuals. We will also create the same function for the whole economy. Let's take both of them to Word. Actually, let's start with this. Let's erase this. Let's pass this. Okay. Actually, maybe I should remove these ones. So, this is C, the total consumption level. It is equal to YD, disposable income, times MPC. This is the one factor there. This basically means that the more income, if I get, for example, $100 more, I will spend MPC times $100. So if it is 0.8, I will spend $80. So this additional $100 will add to my consumption $80. What is A? A is the consumption level of individuals when income is 0. Do people have? Will people spend money when their income is 0? Well, if today take anyone in the society, in any society you want, in the humanity you might say, and assume their income is 0, assuming they had previously an income and then now the income is 0. Probably tomorrow they will spend some money. Why? They might have some savings and they might have some potential to borrow money. And this will actually make them spend some money. And they need to spend some money because they have daily needs. And even if they don't have income, they need to meet those needs at least as long as they could. If they they cannot meet those needs, they won't be able to survive. In that case, I mean, this will be the case where people might not be able to survive as a social beings, stay homeless, or stay hungry, or even not be able to physically survive. But at least tomorrow or this year, if the YD gets 0, people will spend money. I mean, not everyone is that desperate at least. I mean, on average, you have A as a positive number. So since people spend some money, even if their income is 0, we also have this term A. And that's the amount of consumption for individuals when their income is 0. So when income is 0, they consume A. When they get additional income, they spend part of this additional income. So for the whole society, this is C and this is Y. So we have capital letters. So again, the whole society, if we think each individual separately, each of them will be able to spend some money if their income is 0, and if we sum up all this spending with 0 level of income, we get A for the whole society, and then we find MPC of the whole society as an average, and we multiply it with YD, which is GDP minus tax, and then we add these terms together and we find the consumption. This is how we can calculate the consumption, and you might not be surprised, actually these numbers are calculated for them. They are not difficult to calculate since the YD is continuously changing, and consumption spending is also changing, and you can calculate them also. If you have two equations, your two unknowns will be A and MPC. So if you take YD and C for two different time frames, you can calculate MPC and A. Although note that A can change. So if, for example, the GDP level of the country falls to 0, well, in the end, since nothing is produced, in the end the consumption will inevitably fall back to 0. A will become 0 in the other way around. I mean, with YD sufficiently long time equal to, if YD is for sufficient long time equal to 0, then A cannot stay positive. However, at instance, and maybe even for a longer periods, A can be positive, and you should take this into account when you are calculating. I mean, when you are modeling the consumption, since I mean this is a factor that exists in the for the time frames you are considering to understand. So, well, these are the real numbers. This is, I don't know, this might be for 2016 maybe. The MPC is 0.5. Well, A is 1.76 and GDP is 10. And aggregate tax is 2 billion. So let's start to calculate it. So these numbers are in billion. 10 minus 2 is the disposable income. And A is 1.76 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and MPC is 0.5. Let's copy it. So this is 8, 10 minus 2, and 8 times 0.5 is 4. So C is equal to 5.76 for the United States at that time. GDP was 10. 2 is government revenue, so government might also spend that money. But still we have some amount left. That amount might be the investment spending, although of course it might be very well also the exports minus imports, although it's not that way because in the United States you have a deficit. So basically the total spending, consumption plus investment plus the government spending is more than GDP in the United States. So probably you have investment. That is the difference, and a little bit more than the difference, which is fine, which is actually brought from the foreign countries. Anyway, let's go further. So we start from here, and note that we can also draw the graph for this. Let's also do that. I open Excel. Let me a little bit make it larger. So C and Y. Let me do them even more larger. So when y is 0, I know my consumption is 1.76 billion. When y is, let's say, 10, or let's start with 1, I know my consumption is this amount plus 0.5 times the y. And now let's add to this 1. Okay. You can go down. Actually, here's, I think I have a mistake. No, I don't have a mistake here. Okay, you can see this. Let's do it for all the way up to 20. Well, let's keep it that way. Let's keep it at 10. Now, what we need to do is we need to have a scatter plot. And name is consumption. X values are the Y values. We see how consumption is affected by the GDP. Y values are the consumption values. And I think this should be it. Well, in this case, you don't have an actual curve. Why I don't have an actual curve? I'm surprised actually. I'm surprised actually. Let's see. I understood why it was that way. Well, see here I have C4 and then I have C5, so I always take the upper number. I should instead take a fixed number, which should be 1.76. Now I should have a more smooth case. This is my consumption function. It looks like this. And as always, I actually, if you want, you can make it more beautiful, like basically, I'm sorry, right, well, income here, and write consumption here. Okay, that's it. Let's pass. And as you see, we have something similar here. Although here I have these numbers because I have taken in billions here. Here I have taken in thousands basically. Billions basically. The same equation. So you have in thousands, I mean the same numbers. Let's go down. Well, other factors that are affecting consumption are expected future income level. If you expect a future income, in that case, your consumption will increase, which might be a shift in A, basically. Usually it is taught that way. I mean, it's not something. We don't have factors that are actually kind of shifting MPC. Although in questions I can ask you, and I can describe some factors, but then I will say this factor is actually changing MPC. But if that's the case, then the graph will turn. But mostly in regular books, you assume that the consumption function shifts, and that shift is created by a shift in A. But anyway, expected future income level is increasing the autonomous spending, which will shift the consumption curve up. And when you are more rich, when you have more accumulated already money that is stored, that will also shift consumption curve up. Anyway, we will continue in the next part, basically, and we will study shifts in the consumption curve there a little bit. So see you in the next part.